What is the steepest learning curve you experienced going from zero properties to your first few, and how did you get over them?
I think at the very beginning, I was a little bit overwhelmed with how much information I needed to learn. So at first I think there's an information learning curve, and then I think that there is a character learning curve. So I'll just simplify it to just one of each for now. The information learning curve is incredibly steep for any real estate investor out there because you're learning about marketing. There's different marketing strategies. Some people will tell you that you need a cold call. Some people will tell you that you need to do direct mail. Some people will tell you that you need to be calling people from a foreclosure list or from a FSBO list or from a divorce list or whatever. Some people are going to run ads for you, whether that's Facebook or Google. There's so many different things that you can learn just with marketing. Then you have to learn sales. You need to be able to talk. You need to be able to have rebuttals, if you will. You have to learn deal analysis. You need to be able to underwrite a deal to see, is this a deal or is this just a lead that's a total waste of my time? Deal structure. You don't want to be a one-trick pony who only knows how to wholesale houses because you're not going to get very many deals that way. So learning deal structure. There's so many different assets. It becomes quite overwhelming. Like no real estate investor thought that they were going to darn near have a degree in contract law. But everybody who's 10 years in realizes that you live and die by the words that are written on the page. And your contract had better be ironclad, So there's so many facets that in the beginning, it's incredibly overwhelming. And I don't think that I'm special in the fact that I want to do things really well. And so I want to learn everything there is to know about a certain thing. And I would go out and I would get these courses, and I would get a course that's just, specific on sales training. And then I would get a course that's just specific on direct mail, for example, like here's where to pull the lists, and here's the tricks of the trade, if you will, the tips and the tricks, the best business practices, whatever, on copywriting. And what font do you use? And what color is the paper? And do you do a picture or do you not do a picture? Well, what do you say in the letterhead? Well, how important is it? Blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's so many things that we get into. Do you do postcards or do you do trifold pamphlets or my goodness. So I became quickly overwhelmed. And that's why I had gone through so many courses. That's also why I took everything that I learned from 57 courses, easily over $500,000. I've taken everything that I've learned and I've distilled it into just 12 simple courses. Here's everything that you need to know about marketing. Here's everything that you need to know about sales. Here's everything that you need to know about deal structure and deal analysis and raising private money, so on and so forth. Those courses have been broken up and we build upon each one. So I'm going to teach you the very first thing is we need to set up your entity, right? Nowadays, I didn't used to do this, but it's a newer thing this year, actually. With A2P, I don't even want to get into the nerdy stuff. With the legislation that's come down the pipe from application to person is what A2P stands for, and there's TCPA regulations and all this stuff. You have to have an EIN. Well, an EIN, in order to have an EIN, you actually have to have a business. You can't be operating using your personal name. So I have people set up their entity first, and then I teach them the basics of real estate, and then I teach them deal structure, then I teach them marketing, then I teach them sales. It's very intentionally built. Like 101 is first, and then 201, and then 301, just like a college class. And I'm intentionally building on what we just learned in the last course. And the modules are set up that way as well. Let me teach you the basics first. Here's all the basics. Here's the advanced. Here's the rules. Each course is structured that way, and then all of the courses as a whole in our Deal Academy are structured that way as well. So that was the first thing that was overwhelming, was information overload. Then the second thing would be the characteristic. Now, the characteristic that was difficult for me would be resilience. I didn't expect to have as many no's as I did. At the time, I was making a lot of offers. I was doing a lot of cold calling. We've done 990,000 cold calls. Imagine how many no's that is. It's like 99% no's, literally. 99% no's. And so the resilience factor in business is super, super needed. And I feel like I'm very disciplined and I have a lot of grit. And I have a lot of the things that I took out of the Marine Corps, but it was still hard. And so for somebody who doesn't have the childhood that I have, or who didn't have the time in service that I have, I can only imagine that it would be even harder to be like, man, yesterday sucked, but I'm going to get back at it today. Or that seller was really mean to me, but I'm going to call the next one. That is a huge factor that a lot of people don't realize. And again, I will tell you, there's 3 pillars that we've built REI Automated on. Pillar number 1 is education. Pillar number 2 is software or systems. We have been calling it systems. I'm about to change it to software. And then pillar number 3 is coaching or support. That's why I tell this, about 35% of our clients are military, like active duty or veteran, or first responder, like law enforcement officers, firefighters, EMTs, medics, ER nurses, things like this. So about 35%. We're edging really close to 40%, actually. These people, I love working with these people because they have that grit, they have that resilience. But I'm here to tell you, like, you can be as manly as you want. You are still going to need a support system. You're still going to need somebody to give you a pat on the back or a swift kick in the ass when it comes to accountability because you're not doing what you need to do. That support system is absolutely critical. And again, just how I've been very intentional with how I've created the courses so it isn't information overload, or at least to the best of my ability, it's not. We've done the same thing over here with our intentionality, realizing, man, it is really, really hard to, in the Marines, we would say, embrace the suck. Like, it's 3:30 in the morning. We've got all of our gear on. It's freaking cold. It's raining. I'm hungry. I'm out of water. I'm just disgustingly dirty. But who am I to complain? I'm with 90 other Marines and they're hungry. They're shivering. They're pissed off. Like, there's not enough coffee. We would just say embrace the suck. Like, who are you to complain? Everybody is just as miserable as you are. So get over yourself. Nobody cares. We have a mission to do, and that's what we're doing. You have to have that community. We've built that community, and that's very much what we care. That's what we care most about, is the support structure is there to help you through that. So those are the 2 things. One of them is a characteristic. One of them would be information overload.
Welcome back, that's very well said. I know one of the things that I've taken away as I've grown into the career and work that I have with, say, copywriting along with podcasts and marketing is that it's really hard to do stuff by yourself. Like, you need a teacher, but honestly, you don't need a teacher. You need a mentor. And why I really like the community and your coaching program as it is that there are mentors and not teachers. Teachers essentially teach to like a whole class, but mentors have, I'm going to say, a stake in your success, that they want to see you succeed, as well as there are teachers that will do the job and give you the
Yeah.
material that you're supposed to learn. But sometimes, and a lot of teachers that I've seen don't really have an not an interest, but it is more of I'm going to say, emotional payoff in your success. And I
Yeah.
really
That's
like
a super good point.
mentors. Yeah, I really like mentors because they have this drive and emotional um character to say, hey, this person is wanting to succeed and I'm willing to help them to succeed and I want to see them succeed. So I'm going to help them as intimately as I can at every
Mm-hmm.
stage of the process. So,
Yeah. At the end of the day, I love your analogy, by the way. I'm the king of bad analogies, and that was a pretty good one. A teacher, they
a
don't
pretty
really care
good
about
bad
your
one or a pretty
success.
good one?
No, that was a good one.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't really care about your success for two reasons. Number one, because you're going to get your degree and you're going to get a job and you're going to make money. And the job that you get and the amount of money that you make never comes back to affect them ever. It can't. Then the second thing is, even if you drop out of their class, so they're not invested in your long-term future, was my last point. They're also not invested in your short-term future. If you drop out of their class, don't freaking care. I have a whole new class next semester. Every single person is going to be different. And the college just feeds new people to them. Whereas in a service-based industry like what we are, and yes, we're an education company, we're an info company, we're also a SaaS company because we have multiple softwares. But at the end of the day, we are almost, it's like 50% of our business, if not more, is on the service side. It's on the coaching and the support side. We have to care because at the end of the day, if you don't like us, if we're not providing value to you, you're going to leave and we don't get paid. Secondly, if you do like us and we are providing information, but you're not getting any results, you're going to freaking run out of money. And therefore, even if you do like us and you want to pay us, you don't have any money to pay us. Therefore, you're not going to pay us. Therefore, you're going to leave. The secret to business success is to keep clients happy and get clients results. It's as simple as that. You have to have both of those things, and that is why we care. Ultimately, you could even call it a selfish play. It is. I want to have a successful business. I don't want our clients to leave. How do I make it so that our clients don't leave? Get clients results and keep clients happy. Simple. As long as we do those two things, and that's first and foremost what our job is, done. We have a greater than a 90% retention rate. I had 13 clients sign up with us October of 2020 at our soft launch, and I have every one of those clients but two that are still investing. I love taking care of our clients long term, like 2 years, 3 years, 4. We're only 5 years old, right? Our official launch was 2021. We have a lot of clients that are 4 and 5 years old with us. Why do they continue to pay? Well, because I'm always at least one step ahead of them, or at least I do my darndest to try. And we're getting them results. We're making their lives easier. We're reducing their pain and suffering. We're helping them get results faster and with less time and with less heartache. Boom. Easy.
Yeah, and that's pretty good because the superstition at the 5-year mark, this is where a lot of businesses fail.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the truth of the matter. If you make it, in my belief, if you start in REI Automated and you make it past your first one, you're going to be successful. I haven't pulled a report this year, but at the conclusion of Q3, rolling into Q4 of last year, 2025, I did pull a report. I did a whole analysis on all of our clients, seeing like, what does it really take to get people to be super successful? What does it take? At the time, I was trying to increase our LTV, our lifetime value of a client, which means how much money are we making over the course of a client's lifetime before they exit real estate or exit REI Automated. And at the end of the day, what I realize is if we can get people successful in their business, success being defined as 6 figures or more, if we can help a client get 6 figures or more within their first 12 months of REI Automated, they're going to stay. And if they stay, they're going to stay long term. We had 2 clients last year that left us on bad terms. Both of them signed up in the middle of a bad deal. They were already real estate investors. They were already doing some deals, and those deals ultimately took them out. Meaning, like one gentleman, man, I freaking love this guy, and I miss him in my office hours. He, great dude, great energy. He just made a silly mistake in his underwriting. He thought that his ARV was way higher than it was, and he thought that his repairs were way lower than they actually ended up being. He held on to that sucker forever and ever and ever. He dropped the price. And at the end of the day, that one deal took him out. And he had like 2 or 3 other deals that he had done previously, but he just did not underwrite this deal appropriately. He rushed, he skipped steps, he didn't have all the information, and he was making decisions based off of bad information. And so both of them ended up, the 2 people who left on bad terms, they exited real estate, not just REI Automated. And that breaks my heart. But my point in saying this is they were the anomaly. They were the outlier of people that were with us and then left on bad terms. If they had only started with us, that would not have happened. Both of them. It would not. Our systems literally would have prevented it on both of them. So it is important. Again, I'll always go back to these 3 pillars. It took me 5 years to figure out what these 3 pillars were. And once I figured them out, I created a whole other business just based off of these 3 pillars. What I'm talking about is I invested in Crowne properties for 5 years. I still invest, by the way. But I had invested 5 years in Crowne properties before I started REI Automated, because it was those 3 things that I saw people lacking consistently in all these other programs. You have to have the right education, you have to have the right systems, and you have to have the right support. And so that's why we provide those things. All right, I'm talking too much. Let's get to the next question.
How do you find a good investor-friendly real estate agent, and why does it matter so much who you work with?
There's 2 times that I'm going to get an agent. The first time is if I already have a house or I'm about to put a property under contract. It's typically after I have the house under contract and I know, hey, I'm gonna do some renovation to this house, and then I'm gonna list it on the MLS with a realtor, and I'm trying to get things lined up, right? Because not only that realtor is like my single source of truth, meaning that realtor, we're probably going to use that realtor's handyman, we're going to use that realtor's tile guy, we're going to use that realtor's every contact that realtor has in their Rolodex that is applicable to me, whether it's a title company or a lender or an appraiser or a home inspection, whatever. We're going to use that realtor's connections rather than mine, rather than Google. So that's the first time that I'm going to need a realtor. And the reason why it's important to get a real estate investor friendly realtor in that instance is because secretly my hidden agenda, if you will, is I actually want that realtor to be a quasi project manager for me. And that's because I do most of my deals virtually. I live here, they live in New York, like the house is in New York. And so they're the boots on the ground. They're the ones who's checking in on Fridays with the contractors there and taking a video walkthrough to show me a progress update. They're the ones who, anyway, they're a low-level project manager. If you're not a real estate investor-friendly realtor, you're never going to say yes to that. That's like the anti-desire. You're like a luxury. The people who have always said no to me is like the luxury realtors or people who have very large brokerages, and they're like, dude, I don't got time. Both of these people are going to say, I don't have time to manage your house. Like, you need to go find a different person. Totally fine. I respect that. The other, I told you that there was 2 instances where this is important, that I'm going to be getting a realtor. The other one is if I am going to be using a realtor to be making offers on the MLS. So I actually just got off of a really great call with a friend of mine who is going to be using Deal Labs in the biggest way possible. And a lady on her team is going to be making the offers. So I was kind of going through some training on how to do that. Well, guys, you can use a realtor to do this as well. Using Deal Labs literally shaves off more than 90% of your valuable time. It literally shaves off more than 90%. I was so impressed. I was actually impressed with my own freaking software today as we were scraping Portland, Oregon. And as soon as we started scraping it, I gave the disclaimer like, hey, this could take as much as 10 minutes. Like, our longest scrape ever took 13 minutes and 43 seconds. It really depends on the volume of houses that we're going to scrape right now. So it could be really fast and it could be really slow. Anyway, I started talking and going through the system, and about 50 seconds in, it wasn't even 1 whole minute. Boom. Like, it returned 100 houses in Portland, Oregon. I was like, dang, that was really fast. Typically it is going to be a little bit longer than this. Typically it's going to be 3-4 minutes that it's going to, kind of take its time scraping through all the different places that we have it scraping. And so then it enriches all the data. So you know what your comps are, you know what your rehab is, you know what the rental rates are, so on and so forth. Then it's going to analyze all of those. It's going to look at the deal and tell you, are they motivated? Is it urgent? Is the condition of the house bad? Do the deal economics work? And it's going to score that house. And then it's going to put them in order of the score. So you start at the top, you work your way down. A realtor could do this for you. And so we actually have an LOI, which stands for letter of intent. We have a LOI generator built into Deal Labs now, so that you can submit offers, but it's not an actual offer. An actual offer is very lengthy, and you have all of these form fills, and you have to explain everything to a realtor, and there's so much that goes into it that a lot of realtors are like, hey, just send me an LOI, or can you send me an email with that information? Yeah, sure thing. Dope. Let's go ahead and do it that way. That way we're not burning both of our times. A letter of intent gives that realtor enough information to go to their client, the seller, the homeowner, and say, would you be interested in entertaining this offer? If so, then we'll make it official and we'll send them the contract, right? So we have this letter of intent generator that your realtor, if you have an investor-friendly realtor working for you to submit offers, they can do the scrape, enrich, and analyze, and this literally takes just a couple of minutes. It does depend on the metropolitan that you're in, like how many houses we're talking about, but it's going to only take a couple of minutes. And then they can call the listing realtor or the seller if it's direct to seller, like if it's for sale by owner. And it generates the letter of intent. Push of a button. Done. Like, copy. You don't even have to write the email anymore. We can copy the email straight from Deal Labs. Copy the email, download the letter of intent, paste the email, attach the letter of intent, send. It's a 5-minute thing from scraping to call, got it, send, next. You can be just turning and burning through this. It's nothing short of amazing. So that's when it would be really helpful to have an investor-friendly realtor.
Nice. It sounds like investor-friendly realtors could be a good way to network if you're beginning. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so especially if you're beginning, and even more especially, there's like a Venn diagram. It's important to have a good investor-friendly realtor when you're beginning. It's also important to have an investor-friendly realtor when you're virtual, meaning you're remotely. I live in Florida, I invest in New York. When you are both new and investing virtually, it's almost necessary. you have to have local expertise. There's nothing more to say. I mean, you have to have one.
Nice. All right, Keith, we got time for one more question today.
Sweet.
Going off the back of virtual real estate, how do you approach investing out of state? And what are the real trade-offs compared to investing in your own backyard? I think I mentioned this before, but I've seen a lot of people asking these on like Reddit and Bigger Pockets, and I want to like re-go over this.
Cool. So there is trade-offs and there is benefits, and they're very, very easy to see. Dare I say they're even a little bit obvious. However, people don't really understand the nuances, especially when you get to the people who are trolling on Reddit threads, because I feel like they're the biggest lowlifes ever that are just keyboard warriors, and they do not have any helpful information to share with you. I will give you the helpful information and spare you all of the negativity. With investing locally, you have the ability to, there's so much to be said about relationships in real estate. Real estate is built on relationships. I do not care how much people preach about it's a numbers game. Sure, I'll acknowledge it has a lot to do with the numbers. However, it has more to do with relationships. I will die on that hill. And I'm the analytical, data-driven person over here, so you would think that I would be all about, the numbers and stuff and say that it's a numbers game. No, it's a relationship game. It's a relationship over numbers. So when you're in person, like there is something that chemically changes when I am with somebody personally and I'm looking you in the eye and I'm shaking your hand and I'm giving you a hug, and we're breaking bread. We're eating a meal together. There is physiological changes that occur that do not happen when we're looking at a screen or we're on the phone or we're texting. So having in-person relationships are always going to trump virtual relationships. There is a physiological difference. A chemical difference occurs in your body as well. So that is the main. You can leverage that. You can leverage that in your in-person. People will talk about like looking at a house and being able to walk through. Dude, you ever heard of a video walkthrough? AI's gotten good enough. I don't know how many people have looked at this, but there's this thing called Matterport. Everybody has seen Matterport. They just maybe don't know what Matterport is, but it used to be this old device. It's crazy that I can say that now. It used to be this old, because it was new technology when I started in real estate investing. Now I'm sounding super old. But it would scan the room, and then you would move it to a different location in that room, and it would scan a picture. You'd have to like walk out and start it, right? And it would take a series of pictures, and you would do that, and it would create this map, and you could go to wherever I think they're blue dots, and then when you click on it, it turns green to the one that you're on, or it's vice versa. It doesn't matter. You click on the dots, and now you're in that location, and you can spin, and you can look, and then you could go to the next blue dot, and you can spin, and you can look around. Well, now they have the most amazing AI-generated, it is freaking dope. It literally is the same software that they use to create video games. So like,
oh really?
Like Sims or Call of Duty or anything like that, where it's like, dude, this is like an actual house. Like Sims is the biggest one. Where this is an actual house, and this is what it actually looks like, and things like this. So they can create these virtual models. Well, now that's all you have to do. You can upload a video, one video done, or a series of pictures, and it will take those series of pictures and create the most perfect AI generated. It does have a little bit of a video game look to it, but it's coming from your pictures. So it's not really filling in that much of the gaps. It looks pristine. It's so cool. So the whole, I have to I have to walk through the house to get a feel for it. No, you don't. Shut up. Get over yourself. You're not even qualified. You're a brand new real estate investor. There's like so many things that are against you. And I don't mean to be rude or demeaning, but that's just the fact of the matter is, like, I'm going to send a home inspector through. I'm going to send a contractor through, probably 3 contractors. I'm also going to send a realtor through. And you're telling me that you're going to make a difference and it's not those 5 individuals? Shut up. Those 5 individuals are individually more qualified than you. Put all 5 of them together, giving me reports, sending me pictures, talking to me on the phone. Way better than you walking through the house. Whatever. So I'd like to just dispel that whole in-person pro. That is not a pro. You do not have to walk. I have not walked through. I've walked through I don't know that this is accurate, but I think that I've only walked through 2 of my deals ever
Only
in
2.
10 years across 34 states.
Wow.
I'm feeling pretty convicted. Oh, nope, 3. I just remembered another one. No, 4. All right. Maybe
You're a liar, are you?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, dude, but I can even I can tell you the street that those were on. Apuhihi. I did one in Makakilo. One was in I can see it. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure I'm only at 4. I had one in Louisiana that I had to take through a sheriff's sale last year. So I had to actually go there in person because they're dumb and they wouldn't let me do it virtually. And that's it. These other 3 were all like literally down the street from me when I got started in Hawaii. So I walked through them. That's it. 4. I'm really very confident that out of all the deals that I've done, I've only walked through 4 of them. And it would have only been 3 if I didn't have to do the sheriff's sale on that one last year. And I was like, I'm 20 minutes away. I may as well go walk through it. So those are that's it. Is you have in-person relationships that you can leverage, and those are going to come with benefits. Now, the benefits of investing virtually, super, super simple. Most of y'all, like 99% of everybody who lives in the United States, you don't live in an opportunity zone. Meaning, you don't have the perfect blended effect of, so think about this. It's simple economics 101, supply versus demand. You need to live in an area where the supply is outpacing the demand. So it's easy for you to get into a smoking good deal. And there's 2 ways that you can get into a really good deal. You can either have price, like great price equity, or you can have terms equity. If you don't live in an area that is like super appreciating, you're not in an area of opportunity. If you're not in an area that has great cash flow, I'm talking $500 to $1,000 of cash flow, you're not in an area of opportunity. What are other? Lastly, if you're wholesaling, like Scottsdale, Arizona, my God, you don't even have to like market your house. You can text like 3 people and have the house sold. So the amount of buyers, which is really driven by volume, if you're not in an area where volume is a massive play and you're having like hundreds, if not thousands of transactions happening in your zip code, you're not in an area of opportunity. That's kind of it. Those are all the factors where it could be like, well, maybe I do live in a great area. No, you probably don't. I said 99%, but if I were to add up the population of like the 9 areas of opportunity that there are right now in the United States, depending on how you define it, maybe it's a little bit more. But I'm looking at 9 areas that are like, this is great, dude. I like this area. The population of that is less than 1% of the United States. Absolutely, hands down. So
the
you
land
have
of
to leverage.
opportunity down at 1% real estate. Ooh.
Yeah. Invest where it makes sense. That's what I like to say. I like to invest where it makes sense. I live in Florida. Florida is the best state. I don't care which any of y'all think. Florida is the best state there is in the United States. But
Ooh,
is
you're
it
gonna
a great
start a
area?
war with that one.
I am. I'm trying to piss some people off today. It's the best place to live. It's one of the worst places to invest. This place sucks to invest right now. Is there some areas where I would invest? Sure. But I mean, there is massive pockets of opportunity. not in Florida. The state of Florida doesn't make my list, much less of any metropolitans that make it up. So yeah, I'll die on the hill of invest where it makes sense. Don't invest in a place just because it's convenient, because convenience breeds complacency, and complacency kills. This is something that we would say in the Marine Corps all the time. Complacency kills. Obviously, it's a little bit different. You get complacent, you're not paying attention, you make a mistake, somebody kills you. We're not really talking about that. We're talking about real estate investing. When you get complacent, you get really comfortable, you're not minding your P's and Q's, you're not following your SOP, you're not doing quality control checks and assurance with your team, you're not training your team properly. Man, you're moving fast and you make mistakes, and when you make mistakes, you lose money. And when you lose money, you're killed. You're out of the game. You are no longer in the game because you're freaking bankrupt, or you're going through foreclosure, or people are suing you, or whatever it is. And so ensuring that you're not getting complacent. What breeds complacency? Getting comfortable. Why would you be comfortable? Because everything's convenient. It's all right here. I could just go down to the house and check it out. I can just go yell at the contractor. I can just, if it ever starts with I can just, that's literally a comfort thing that breeds complacency 100% of the time, because we're human. TED Talk over.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I totally agree. You got to get out of your comfort zone if you want to, even just the physical and psychological benefits. There are so many studies out there now that just even getting outside of your comfort zones helps your neural wiring in your head, your neuroplasticity. But we are not the Dr. Andrew Huberman Lab podcast. We are the REI Automated First Deal
You should go follow
podcast.
the podcast and listen to Andrew. He is brilliant.
That's right. With the combined powers of Andrew and Keith, you will become the best investor there ever was and lived.
That's right. Maybe Brian Johnson as well. Let's add him to the list. And Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins. Oh, okay. Heck yeah. Keith, you've been awesome. We're going to end it there because that was just a lot of fun, but we got to move on to bigger and better things. That's a wrap on this episode of the First Deal podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on so you never miss an episode. We drop new content regularly, and every single one is built to move the needle forward for you. In fact, you can usually find that content right here. That's all for now. We'll see you on the next one, my friends.